All right, hello and welcome to Perfect Patch. Today we're going to be walking through a patch build of one of the main voices in our Sunday Jam that I published this weekend. So we're going to start from the basics of voice and some of the other components and then put it all together to make the sound. Starting out with the wavetable chord patch of the Blue Lantern clone of Braids. Bring that into our mixer here. You can hear that it's a chord and we are varying it. You can vary which chord by the color. But this is the basic patch that the voice that we used. Up next, we also used a filter before then. So this is a low pass filter. This is Erica Synth's build. It's just a basic low pass filter, and so if we pull the cutoff all the way down and we put that in, see no sound comes out, and then we open the filter up and we get this nice swell. So this is how we opened it. And that's already pretty nice. But as I showed you previously, we also had a modulation on the color, like it would change every so often. And so there's a color input there. And so we'll take basically a random signal from a modulation source. So this is just a basic sample and hold. It basically takes a volume and holds it. And so it'll like randomly set the color and change it periodically. Change it basically every time this light blinks is the count. So now we have our basic sound with filter modulation, as well as the periodic changing of the chord that the wavetable is acting on. Up next, we wanted to make that rhythmic pulsing that we heard. That was kind of like the main rhythmic driver of the main voice. And so what we'll do, so let's just turn that off for a moment. And then we will take the output of the running order. This is a Euclidean rhythm generator, Euclidean sequencer. And we're going to take the trigger out from the first input. And just to give you an idea of what that sounds like on its own, all this is doing is generating pulses at a certain rhythm as opposed to the chord beat. So all this sounds like is just clicks, basically, just pops. And so what we could do is that's our rhythm, and what we theoretically could do is just pop that directly into the control for the filter. And so if we listen to this and turn up the volume there, we get little clicks where it opens the filter and closes it really fast. However, to get really like a sound of a pulse or a voice or a hit, we need to have an envelope. We want it to last longer than just a pulse. We want it to decay longer. And so for that, we need an envelope generator. So what an envelope generator does is it basically takes that pulse and shapes it a little bit. We will, instead of doing that, we'll plug it into the Four of Pentacles, which my friend made, Chris DeFrancisci, budding synth designer. And we'll basically put that pulse in here, and you can see that it's controlling this flashing light, and that's just basically the signal being on or off. We can control the speed, and already you can see the light fading in terms of how long it takes to fall. And so what we're going to do is then take that output and put it back where we had the pulse before. And so now the fall is very quickly, so it takes a long time to fall. But if we increase the fall time, we get this timbre in rhythm with the hits. So it sounds like you're being struck, and there's a voice like a bell being struck, like chord stabs. but we still have the background kind of like filtered low chord in the background. And then we can play with the various levels here, right? So if we just wanted the stabs, we put the filter really low and we just have the stabs. And if we wanted kind of chords in the background, and if we just wanted the normal chords, we just turn down the control of the pulses on the filter cutoff, and we just have the filter. The last thing, which is a little bit of a nuance here, is that we have a regular kick drum pulse, right? So if we were to, this is a sequencer down here, and this is what we use for sequencing all the main outputs. But if we were to take the output of that, or like the bass drum hit really, for the pattern that we were using, right, so that's our bass drum on the Endorphins Queen of Pentacles. What we really did there is we kind of malted that out to the signal that's triggering the bass drum. We took that and we put it over to another envelope generator in Maths, which is basically, does the same thing as this. We basically take a pulse from the kick drum and we set a certain fall or decay on it. And we use that, and we can currently, we could just set it positive, but we can also, Maths allows us to invert the signal and go negative. And so instead of having the pulse go up in intensity, we have now the ability to have the pulse go down in intensity. So now whenever the kick drum hits, we can say, we get that really pumping kind of feel that leaves space for the kick drum to really feel the kick, and also have a nice pulse, even if we can't hear the kick drum. It's a nice rhythmic pulse. And when we combine that with the kind of Euclidean rhythms of the running order, we get this really great interacting beat where we don't even need the kick drum at this point. We just feel the pulse, and then adding the kick drum in just really emphasizes the groove there. And then you can just play with the parameters. And of course, how fast the decay on the kick drum is also especially fun to play with. And there we go, that's the build of the main voice from the latest Sunday Jam. This has been Perfect Patch. Thanks for tuning in.